I think the place where I've noticed the most improvement though, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, is with the run. I mean, to think 4 months ago, the thought of jogging a 5K was almost an impossible feat. I couldn't jog 100 meters. Good morning. Welcome back to another Saturday Real Talk bike ride. We had a big move day yesterday. I think we covered nearly 500 miles over 14 hours, and we are now at Thousand Trails Forest Lake, which is about 45 minutes north of Charlotte, North Carolina. We're out this morning for our main bike ride. It's going to be a little bit shorter today for two reasons. One, I was having a hard time finding a route that didn't go on a main state road. I just turned off at one. I had to ride it a little ways to get to here, and it is crazy busy on a Saturday morning. Positive note, I did pass a fantastic smelling barbecue place right outside the entrance to the RV park, so we might check that out for a little carnivore snack later on. Yesterday was a good week for the weight loss journey. I think I mentioned in last Saturday's video that the weight had spiked considerably over the weekend. And I've noticed that's a pattern that's been repeating for the last few weekends, because we usually go do some kind of family event together Friday afternoon or Saturday, and the food intake gets a little bit sloppy. And sometimes that tends to carry over for a day or so. So I've noticed the spikes coincide with the weekends. So my goal this week was to flatten that spike a little bit by being extra cautious on what I consumed. Now, it's only Saturday, so I can't say for certain. My weight bottomed out on Wednesday or Thursday at 320 and change, which is again is an all-time low. So the portion control is definitely working. I'm quite happy, I feel great. But the last couple days it has started to creep back up slightly, which is okay. The average weight for the month is still plummeting. But where last Saturday morning I was met with a 6-pound spike, today it was 0.6 pounds. So a 10-to-1 difference. The training last week went really well. The interval bike ride was solid. I went out and tackled the hills again at the RV park. I even tackled that steep 20+% hill, and I did make it to the top this time without having to walk my bike. Did have to weave back and forth a little bit to flatten out the grade, but I did make it to the top. So pretty happy with that. I think the place where I've noticed the most improvement though, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, is with the run. I went out for the main run, I think it was on Monday, because I was a day behind this week, and it called for a 60 to 90 minute run. And I didn't do the full 60 minutes, but I did another 5K, and it was a piece of cake. I mean, to think 4 months ago, the thought of jogging a 5K was almost an impossible feat. I couldn't jog 100 meters. But I went out that day and I did it on pace, 9.5 minute kilometer, which I know isn't fast, but I'm consistent and I can do it repeatedly. And I had a little more left in the tank. I probably could have done more. Maybe I should have, because I missed my longest run by 400 meters. So if I'd have ran a little bit longer, another couple laps around the park, I'd have clocked in my longest run. And then I think it was Thursday was my interval run. The Motive app suggested doing it on hills, which I did a month or so ago in Perry Sound, some uphill sprints. But as there's no flat territory anywhere, that RV park is full of grades. I just ran some laps around the section of the campground we were in, and it worked really well. I think it was a 35-minute run. I think I finished right around 33 or 34. 10-minute jog to warm up, and then 2 rounds of 6 20-second sprints, followed by a 1-minute recovery jog. And the app was asking for a 7.5 to 8 15-minute sprint, and I had a few that were below 5. I shouldn't say that. I had a few that were in the 5s. I did a 5:35 and a 5:55. The rest were in the low 6s. And I did all 12 of them. Kept up my race pace jog in between. So very, very happy. Very happy with how that interval run went. I find myself being less intimidated by the running aspect now, because I'm starting to get a handle on it. And although my pace is slow, I mean, I'm not going to win any races, it's consistent and I can keep it up over a long period of time, which to me is the key to the endurance. I'm not racing to compete, I'm racing to complete. So I'm optimistic next week that when we get into the actual training phase for Miami, start to push a little bit, that we're gonna have some really nice results. I have really fallen off on the swimming, I admit that. We were at Natchez Trace for 3 weeks. I was in the lake once swimming. So in the last few weeks I've only been in the pool 1 time. But we'll be back at White Oak Shores on Tuesday, and they've got a pretty good pool there. I mean, I don't think I've lost any of my swimming fitness, because overall my fitness is improving considerably. I don't really have a whole lot of other things to talk about. It was a quiet, productive week. I feel these baseline videos, we've talked a lot about diet and a lot about nutrition, but I feel it's getting a little bit repetitive, which is probably why it's working for me. Usually it's the boring strategies that tend to work the best. Problem with them is they're so boring that most people can't stick with them long enough to see any actual real success. Things are going really well. I feel great. Still need to get that bike fit though. I think next week's Saturday video is going to be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be back at the Emerald Coast. And if you go back to the first video that I posted on this channel, I think it was titled Day 30, This Might Be a Bad Idea. I filmed that video on the trail that runs down the Emerald Coast. And next Saturday, I get to go back to that trail and ride it again. And it's been, that was middle of May, June, July, August, September, middle. So it's been 4 months, and it's gonna be fun to look at the improvements and the changes that have happened over the past 4 months. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. You've got your notifications turned on, so you'll see that video when it goes live. I'll probably do my run the following day on a different segment of that trail, and that will mark the end. Hey look, an Outback. That'll mark the end of the baseline phase. We're stopping in Miami just for the triathlon. We're actually leaving Orlando and we're headed to the Keys for 3 weeks. But we got a 5-day stopover in Homestead just so we can do this triathlon. We'll just get past these dogs. We know how we feel about dogs. We're almost at the point that unless I get attacked by a dog, it's just not a Real Talk Saturday bike ride now, is it? I turned about a quarter of a mile before the EMS station because there's another road here I just saw on the map that makes a loop back to the main road we came in on. So that way I won't have to repeat any scenery. And I'm a little bit behind on the clock. And I said this way was 5 minutes shorter. All in all, we're doing well. 44 minutes into the ride, so we're exactly halfway. That's moving time, not total time. We're a bit behind on total time because I stopped a few minutes back to stretch out my shoulders. Try and get rid of the neck pain a little bit, have a drink. Can't stop thinking about the smell of that barbecue place. I know where I'm going for breakfast after we're done kayaking, because it's right there by the kayak launch, like it was placed there just for me. And we made it back to the RV park. We're about 2 or 3 minutes from the trailer site. We've done 25 kilometers and we're 1 hour and 23 minutes. Be just under 1 hour 30 when we get back to the campsite. The kayaks are already loaded up and we're ready to go for our afternoon paddle, then barbecue. So I'm gonna wrap this video up for you guys right here. Thanks again so much for watching if you've made it this far in the video. And as we approach the milestone of returning back to North Carolina's Emerald Coast where this thing started, leave a comment below. Let me know what's been the most interesting part of this journey so far for you. For me, it's been the running improvement. That's the big thing I've noticed. But I'm curious what in this short series so far has brought you guys the most value, and is there anything I can expand on in the future to make this content even more useful for you in your own journey. And once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.